Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lion's Heart. And in this video, I'm going to be giving an update on the 3 month retreat that I was on and what came of that, and some insights and some integrations from all of that and what I've learned, and maybe help you guys out with this if it's something you're curious about, or if it's something that you maybe have interest in doing yourself, or you're just curious about how my experience was. So that's what we're going to dive into in this video. So, just to begin, just a basic outline of what happened and what I did was it was about 3 months of 10 hours a day meditation and yoga and satsangs and study. So, it was probably like 3 hours of meditation, 2 hours of yoga, and then like 3 hours of studying and satsangs, and then maybe like another 2 hours of kind of just chilling, but also contemplating and maybe sitting in a hammock and listening to like an audiobook or things like that. So, and then the other time was just spent like eating and resting. So, all in all, it was about 10 hours a day of, spiritual work, and really focused on just the waking up aspect, the non dual, who am I, consciousness aspect. And what was cool about this training was that it was with some very advanced teachers and people who I would actually consider modern mystics, especially the head of the school, Sahajananda. He started the school, and we were lucky enough to get to study with him for a good amount of time during the retreat, during the training. So, I mean, I was studying with, proper mystics, people who are not just speaking this stuff, but they're embodying it, they're living it. And that was very powerful for me. Basically what I learned from this time was the true importance of practice, and just like naturally raising your consciousness through your practices, through the naturalness of what you are, which is consciousness, which is God, which is nothingness, which is that awareness. So this was extremely powerful because this kind of showed me that not only is it possible, but that it also takes a lot of time and a lot of work. And that if you really want to live an awakened life, if you really want to dissolve the ego and release your consciousness, the binds of your consciousness, it's going to take a lot of fucking work. And also, there's no shortcut until you actually go in there and disidentify with all of your patterns and start to realize what you truly are as the space within which everything unfolds, that consciousness, that emptiness, that nothingness. Until you really start to experience yourself as that, then you're kind of just playing games a little bit. And really what it comes down to is meditation and yoga and contemplation, and also studying, reading. I think getting those patterns to recognize, these books and what they're saying, and becoming spiritually literate, I think is really important. I can tell you you're God. I can tell you your consciousness. A book can tell you that your awareness. It's got to become a direct experience. It's got to become your day-to-day experience. And you have to naturally reach those awakenings. Anyway, what I'm getting at is like just the importance of the natural path to awakening and love and raising your consciousness, and just how important that was for me, and how much of a realization that was for me in this training, because I was having awakenings and I was realizing, how real this can be without any substances, without anything outside of me besides just meditation and prayer and contemplation and yoga. Moving on to the actual training and what I learned and the major insights that I had. So one of the most profound insights that I had that really kind of took me by surprise was the importance of community and the people that you're around, and how you're actually embodying and living these teachings. Because it's so easy to just sit alone and kind of be in your own little echo chamber, reading your books, meditating. And there's really not much challenge there. Like, of course there is challenge. You have to sit through your patterns, and you have to work through things, and you have to, sit with yourself in that loneliness, which is difficult. But it's not really triggering you or pushing you after a certain amount of time, right? Maybe the first 10 days, but then you kind of reach like this peace and this bliss. And there is argument for just wanting to stay there, which I think is why a lot of mystics do just stay there. But really, if you want to live an integrated, holistic life, which is what Lion's Heart is about, it's about merging the divine nothingness with the human, with the gross. You got to come out of there, and you got to learn how to bring that into your day to day, being around people, having like shadows come up, having triggers come up, relational dynamics, power dynamics, awkwardness, weirdness, just the messiness of human life. So yeah, that was one of the first, real realizations that I had, was just being around this community, this group of practitioners, people who are doing their best to also raise their consciousness, and the differences in people, and kind of maybe getting triggered, but also so much love. There was so much love there, that we were all in this thing together. We had these great teachers. We knew what we were there for. We knew that we were seeing each other as God. And, really the emphasis, the substance, the foundation of this whole community was that love, right? And so you could just feel that. You could just feel so much love from everybody. And that's what I want to offer to you guys as well, is like, try to just bring that into your relationships. The next major awakening that I had, the next major insight that I had, was just around the love aspect of reality. And this was just a very deep awakening to just how much we kind of forget that the point of life and what God is and what this dream is about is that infinite love, that universal love. And that is actually what our true nature is. That's actually what the foundation of our being is. And so much of the time I would just lay in my hammock after the day of, yoga and meditation and reading. And I would just listen to some medicine music, listen to some, South American indigenous tribal music. And I would listen to my book on Sufism maybe for an hour, and then just absorb into this deep, nourishing love. And it was just so rich, and it was so royal, and it was so godlike, and it was so universal. And I could just feel this godly energy around me, and this loving energy around me. And it was just like a blanket. It's like I was covered in a blanket of this universal love, and I could just dissolve into that. I could just dissolve all of my pain and resistance and traumas and all these things, and I would just let it go into that love. And I could just feel, surrounded by this energy, this aura, this bubble of love, and just remembering so deeply that love is here. Love is what I am. And it just put a smile on my face, because it's like all these problems, all these things I think I need to figure out, the person I need to be, these integrations I need to do. It's like, yeah, that's great. Those are all beautiful aspirations and goals, but everything's all good. Everything's all good anyway. There's nothing that can go wrong in the meta sense. This is God's dream. Like, it's perfect. It's indestructible. Like, yes, this body can be destroyed. This body can be hurt. I can lose friends, family. I can lose my life. I can lose my money, anything like that. But you can never take away my being, and no one can ever take away your being and who and what you are, which is deeply connected to and one with that love. And so it's just put a smile on my face, because it's like there's no real problems. There's nothing really to worry about, because love is what you are, and love is always around you, and it's the being of reality. Another insight that I had was around spaciousness, actually, and it was this recognition that, I am the nothingness within which reality unfolds. It's really hard to kind of fully explain this if you've never experienced it with words, but it really is just this realization that there's no way that I'm this human ego, that I'm this person inside here. What I am, because the only thing everything's changed, right? My body's changed, my personality's changed, my friends, my family, my experiences, the places I've lived, it's all changed. It's all changed. Even my internal world has changed. The only thing that hasn't is just the space that embodies and holds and encompasses all of it. So there was just a few just deep moments of just like, holy shit, like I just am this spaciousness. I am this kind of emptiness, this void of nothingness, of awareness through which reality unfolds. So it's like that screen, like the mystics used to talk about, like there's that screen, and then the theater is the life, and that's the play. But you're not the play, you're the screen upon which the play is unfolding. And I never really got that until now. I started to really get that saying, like, it's like you really are just like the screen, and then the play, the video, the movie is unfolding through you in that way. So that was a very beautiful and deep realization, to really recognize that I am that space. The next realization that I had was around infinity. And this actually happened while I was staring at the ocean. I looked at the ocean and I realized, okay, it's an ocean, and it's like an ocean of consciousness. And then I realized that everything is an ocean of consciousness. It's like the ocean was just like a symbol of reality. The ocean was like this ocean of water, the waves. And then I was like, but that's actually all just consciousness. That's all God's mind. That's all being. That's all this dream-like awareness. And then I had this realization that the sand is the ocean of consciousness. The sky is the ocean of consciousness. If I'm staring at a brick wall, that's also the ocean of consciousness. So it was just this profound realization that, like, no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing, the visible, physical reality around me is just this ocean of being, this ocean of awareness. And in that sense, I realized that death is already the case. Because when I die, it's still just going to be this ocean of being, this ocean of awareness. But that's already the case. That's already happening. So me thinking that I'm a human is just like a game. It's just like a thought. But what's true is that I'm already floating in an infinite space, suspended in nothingness, suspended in being, suspended in infinite nothingness. And death is already the case, because that's what this is. There is no death because nothing changes, right? It's always going to be this way. It's always going to be infinite being. So this was a very beautiful, and just I felt so much relief. And with this realization also became a very embodied realization of time, that time is occurring within this dream, right? Time is occurring within this space, but it's always now. When this body dies, it will be right now. Everything that's ever happened, all the lives that have ever happened, everything that's ever happened in infinity and consciousness has happened right now. And it's just this nowness, like it's like a pole, it's like a pillar of just now. And it's just like so still. And you just realize that you are that stillness. You are that stillness, that empty space, that presence. And then everything is kind of just flowing through that. And it's just this, you back up, you zoom out, and you're just so spacious and you're so free. And that was just such an incredible awakening. And I love to just bask in that, and just, cause it all intertwines, all these things, the love, the space, the infinity, it's all coming together. It's the same thing, just different facets, you could say, of the same thing. And then, for the last, insight/awakening that I had was just the dreamlike quality of reality, like really getting that this is God's mind, that this is God's dream, that this is everything that exists. It's something that my mind is actually creating and imagining. All the objects within reality, the chairs, the tables, the doors, like it's just pure mind. And then my individual mind is like turning it into creating meaning, assigning meaning. But that this is just dream. This is all just dream stuff. This is all just, there's nothing here, right? It's pure consciousness. It's amazing. It's like, it's God's dream. It's God's mind, but it's not a dream in like a kind of sporadic, like nothing connects, like weird kind of crazy way. Like sometimes dreams at night are, it's like this really profound, intense, deep, beautiful dream of extreme magnitude. And, it's just like this feeling of like, this has been forever. It's like this sacred, infinite feeling of like, this has been here forever. So those were my major awakenings and some of the biggest realizations that I had on this training. I would like to share just a few more human relative realizations. One was like taking those realizations and bringing them back into daily life. Like one thing that I realized really was that I've been doing a lot of spiritual work. It's been about 4 years of workshops, meditating, reading, studying, and it's been amazing. It's been incredible. I mean, I've had awakenings to God. Who can say that? Not many people can say that they truly know, what reality is and what God is. And I'm not saying I'm enlightened. I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I know enough to feel secure with death. And so one thing that I want to really emphasize in my life now is bringing that into the mundane, right? Like, why should there ever be any boring, non-sacred times in life, right? So it's like taking that intense awakening and like, maybe you're staring at the sunset and it's like, wow, everything's infinity, everything's God. But like, how can I bring that into standing in line for a coffee, or walking down the street, or, reading a book, or driving my motorcycle through town? It's like, all of these things are that same depth, that same infinite sacredness. And it's just a reminder. It's like, just keep coming back to that. Just keep remembering that. So that was pretty valuable to me. That's something that I want to really bring into my life. And, I really feel like I'm ready to move on. Like, part of me wants to go live in a city. I want to go socialize more. I want to date around, live more like a 31-year-old, while keeping my deep practices and maintaining that depth and never letting go of God. That was a huge thing for me. It's like, no matter what I go through, no matter what I need to experience karmically, or like I need to, live, it's like, sure, go through all that, do all those things, but never forget God. Another thing I realized was just the phone addiction. Like, it's just so unnecessary. Spending hours scrolling around, feeding content. You can get so much more wisdom and peace just sitting alone and being, or reading a book. Find some people that you love, find some, creators that you really resonate with. Maybe an hour a day. It's like, just listen to some podcasts, listen to some stuff. But this whole like addiction to content, addiction to social media, addiction to WhatsApp, I really realized how much it was pulling me out of presence and being, and how much I want to be off my phone these days. And one thing I'm trying to do is just have my phone off from the morning till like 7 p.m. and then like 7 to 9, catch up on messages, check YouTube, whatever. But really just like creating that distance, creating that space, and not just having my mind filled with, it's just at a certain point, it's just junk. Yeah, hopefully that can resonate with some of you guys. I know phone addiction is a big issue now. So, just digital detox, like just use it less. Really be conscious when you're using your phone, and what are you doing with it, and how is it actually helping you? Like, what's it actually doing, right? And could that time be better spent in just a state of being and rest and contemplation, or reading? Another thing is porn. Like, I really am done with porn. During the training, I actually had a moment where I there's a vulnerable share, but I slipped up and I looked at some, and it kind of threw me off balance for the whole training, for the rest of the training. It just, something shifted after that. It was about maybe 2/3 of the way in that this happened. And, I ended up really falling off balance. I ended up speaking to the head teacher about it. This was my chance to talk to a real mystic, an enlightened mystic, and I had to work with him on my porn issue, and it was just kind of heartbreaking. And I'm just really done with it, and I really feel like it's done, and I feel good about that. Drinking, phone addiction, insecurity, whatever your problems are or addictions are, I think porn addiction is like up there with like heroin. Like, this sounds intense, but like, I really think it's like so bad for your mind and your soul and your sexuality, your confidence. I'm just done with it. I'm about over 2 months clean now. It's just, I just have no desire to go back to it. I think that's it. I think that's it for all the relative integrations that I've had. And I'll just end with, the beauty of this journey, the beauty of this practice. I do feel like it's time for me to change things up a little bit after the last 4 years of studying and practice and intense contemplation. I think I'm ready to go live in the world and live in some cities and just kind of give my soul that. I think that's what I need right now. And I'm really excited to keep making Lion's Heart videos. I have some really cool content coming up. And what we're going to do is we're going to integrate all these things together: the spiritual, the psychological, the sexual, the human, the godly, all of it. And like I said, it's like never giving up on your vision, never giving up on God, never giving up on consciousness. And through that, you can explore, you can live life, you can go try different things. and see God in the mundane, right? It doesn't have to look a certain way. So I'm ready for this new chapter in my life. I'll definitely be keeping you guys updated, coming out with some dope new content, stuff that you've probably never heard before. And I really hope to bring fresh insights, fresh wisdom, really valuable, thought-provoking things at the highest level of, consciousness that you can reach. So much love, guys. Thanks for watching this video, and talk soon. Cheers.